You can eat like a king and be healthy as a horse and fit as a fiddle, even at my age 55. There's no trick, you just have to cook and eat right. You can do it, let me show you. Greetings from Vinny at Nutrition Grading. How are y'all doing? Today I'm going to compare the nutrition grades between my Sardine Melt sandwich and the common Tuna Melt sandwich. The Sardine Melt is my own twist on the classic Tuna Melt, and after the nutrition grading, I hope you see the reason for this twist. Do you have a prediction on how these two grades out? Let's go. The ingredients for my Sardine Melt: first, obviously, the tinned sardines. They're organic and olive oil. Sardines are a wonderful fish, full of omega-3s and a lot of other things. It's one of the very few packaged foods in the grocery stores that are actually healthy. I'm not going to lie, it's very fishy and it's an acquired taste. If you didn't grow up in coastal areas where smelly fish is a staple in your diet, you should probably start conditioning yourself, as I did, because these smelly fish really are super nutritious and they get a 5. Again, very, very rare for a packaged item on the grocery shelf. Next, we have block cheese. Why is it better to buy block than pre-sliced and individually wrapped? Well, have you ever wondered why the pre-sliced cheese in your fridge isn't all stuck together? Yeah, they spray a chemical on the slices to keep them separate. You can go to the deli section and ask them to slice cheese for you. I bought this package because, well, it was on sale. So now I just have to spend a little bit of time slicing the block myself. It happens. Homemade mayonnaise is actually quite nutritious. Eggs, extra virgin olive oil, lemon juice, all good stuff. I'm not very good at this. It came out liquidy, but you don't really see it in the sandwich. You just need it for that savory, creamy taste in the sandwich, so it's okay. It takes time. I spent about 10 minutes just whisking this stuff, more time than I spent on the rest of the sandwich combined, which is why I avoid cooking with mayonnaise. But the factory-made alternative is just inedible. You'll see later in this video. Finally, we have bread. I didn't have time to bake myself today, so I picked up a local bakery bread. It's pretty much as good as homemade, which is as healthy as bread ever gets. Let's look at the ingredients. It's in German, so let me translate. Let's see. Spelt flour, water, 2 kinds of yeast, sugar and salt, sunflower seed, yogurt, milk. Yep, no chemicals. If you've seen one of my previous videos, you know they put 30 chemicals in factory-made bread. So this bread earns a -3, which is about as good as bread ever gets. And most importantly, look at this. Expiration date. This bread expires tomorrow. Yeah, that's what real food does. It expires. If your factory-made bread can sit in your kitchen at room temperature for a week and still doesn't go bad, think about it. It's so poisonous that even mold doesn't want to eat it. Why do you? So 5 minutes later, I've got my sardine salad mixed, veggies and cheese sliced, butter melted, ready to go. Stack my ingredients and fry on the pan, and here's my sardine sandwich. Still very delicious if you train yourself for sardine, and quite healthy. This sandwich earns a 3 nutrition grade, a good addition to my weekly fish day rotation. Let's see the other side of the ring, the classic Tuna Melt. Here's a recipe I randomly grabbed from the internet. First up, store-bought mayonnaise. That's a -5. Let me tell you why. Look at the ingredients in store-bought mayonnaise. Besides the usual suspects of ultra-processed oil and carbs, it's made with so many chemicals that they don't even bother listing them individually anymore. Here they call a group of them natural flavor. Do you know what that is? I don't. I know a natural flavor when I taste one, but what exactly is natural flavor as an ingredient? No, it's a whole group of chemicals they don't even want to tell you, supposedly providing natural flavor, quote unquote. Next, here's something called calcium disodium EDTA. Yeah, I know what that is. It's a chemical commonly used in laundry detergents and industrial cleaning products. In food, it's used as an emulsifier and preservative, and it kills a lot in your gastrointestinal microbiome. But you really have to laugh and hand it to these food industry people. It's not enough to list the name, they have to footnote it and say it maintains flavor. Wow, so positive, so helpful, right? Back to the ingredients list. Juice of lemon is good. I'm going to be generous and assume an average user would use high quality butter and cheese, and these would be the only positives. Now the tuna, I put it at -1 if it's in water and -4 if it's in ultra processed oil, which is what most people buy. Why so low, you say? Most people think it's a health food. Actually, no. Commercial tuna is farmed and these fish eat junk food. So they're just as sick as people who eat junk food. They don't have the positive nutrients. What about the protein, you say? Well, there's that, but what you're getting in commercial tuna is a low-grade protein source that comes with mercury. There's much better fish out there, and I'm going to discuss it later in this video. So there you go, my sardine melt versus the common tuna melt. Slightly more expensive because of the higher quality ingredients that I use. Takes 10 minutes longer because of the homemade mayonnaise. The taste difference, well, it just depends on whether you can get used to the stronger fish taste of the sardines. If you are, it tastes just as wonderful. But look at the nutrition grades. Like I said before, you don't necessarily have to go to a radical diet. You can just make small adjustments like this on an existing diet and drastically improve your health. So I promised to tell you more about fish. There's a lot of misunderstanding by the general public about this. Is fish healthy? Yes and no. Up until about 50 years ago, I'd say yes, fish is always a fad. But now we're getting a lot of farmed and processed fish that no longer contain nutrients that make fish healthy in the first place. And we're getting a lot of poisoned fish from environmental pollution too. I'm going to give you a basic breakdown of what fish to eat. Sten Ekberg has a very detailed video. I'll put it in the description. In the 5-column, wild-caught salmon, which is probably the #1 healthiest thing for the human body, the problem is salmon is being fished into extinction. Any wild-caught salmon you find in the store, if it's even real, is very expensive, and we're not getting any more of them. Each time you eat real salmon, we're one fish closer to not having any ever again. Trout is not as endangered, but the situation is similar. Fortunately, the next 3, herring, sardines, and mackerel, they don't have the farming problem. They're very healthy, very affordable, they're on the store shelves, and they're not being fished into extinction yet. Fish that's not wild-caught, in other words farmed, but the least organic, the good ones, or any whitefish such as haddock and cod are pretty good. You can get a 3 or 4. What is the problem with farmed fish, you ask? As an example, the orange pink in farmed salmon isn't even real. Salmon turns that pink only when they're in the wild and swimming upstream. That orange pink you see in farmed salmon is an artificial coloring they feed to the fish. They don't have the color and not the nutrients either, such as the omega-3 and other good stuff. Not all farms are equal. Some fish are farmed in really deplorable conditions. They're fed garbage to get sick. They have little nutritional value, and these fish usually end up in the store as frozen or at bargain prices or ingredients for processed food. Finally, in the last column, the notorious big fish that contain high concentrations of mercury. I hate to see swordfish on the list because I love swordfish, and people really don't want to think of tuna that way. Tuna gets a pass because supposedly they're such a great source of protein. That's another public misconception. You don't need tuna for the protein. If you live in a Western country, 99.9% chance you already get enough protein in your diet. Protein is in everything and you don't need to eat mercury in order to get it. The grade on these big fish can be -1 to -4 if you eat it in a tin filled with the usual suspect ultra-processed oil. So what's your favorite way of incorporating fish in your diet? Let us know in the comments. This is Vinny from Nutrition Grading, and I hope to see you again soon.